If you've ever wondered who would win in a competition between alien slugs and an 80s fraternity, then we've got the film for you.
Because today we're watching Night of the Creeps, the schlocky sci-fi horror comedy from director Fred Dekker.
This movie really has it all. Zombies, aliens, flamethrowers, and a good cop gone bad. Or is he a bad cop going good? We're still confused.
But we're going to sort it out in today's episode of Slashback Cinema.
Shawnee?
Yeah?
Thrill me!
Thrill Me is one of the taglines of this movie. The cop, played by Tom Atkins, plays the cop, and he definitely understood the assignment. He's like grizzled, and he's alone in the world. Yeah,
hard drinking, hard smoking.
And then inexplicably, he says "thrill me" a lot. He says "thrill me." Did you notice to answer the telephone?
No, that's one of my favorite scenes. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But yeah, there's a lot of thrill me. That's quite the line.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to start weaving that into my day to day here as a 50-year-old.
Detective Cameron?
No. Bullwinkle Moose. Thrill me.
Is that body you were looking for, Detective?
Thrill me. Thrill me.
Today's episode of Slashback Cinema, it's brought to you by Slashies, Chainsaw and Floral. The only shop in town that understands the simple truth. Everyone needs something now and then. Some folks come in for tulips. Others come in for a replacement chainsaw after the old one unexpectedly wore out. Slashy has got your back. Slashy Chain Floral since 1982.
Did you write an ad?
I was like, we need like the Garrison Keillor Prairie Hump Companion.
Slashy's Chainsaw and Floral. Dress the shop that does it all.
I feel like we need to create this whole, like, this movie encapsulated perfectly. There was this whole like town that was created in the 50s, but now it's in the 80s. This small town America where all these horror movies happened. It usually involved, in this case, you know, a random spaceship from outer space, and then some weird shit happens. There's some zombies. Like, this movie really it did cover the bases.
Ryan, why don't you give us a little plot overview to summarize I was almost said Night of the Comet, Night of the Creeps for our listening audience.
We've watched a lot of these Night of movies, and so this is the latest, Night of the Creeps from 1986. Basically, it starts off in outer space, like many of these films like they like to do. A capsule hurls through space, crashes into Earth, and it happens to be full of brain-eating slugs. Lands in a college town, and it turns frat boys and townsfolk into these shambling zombies. And it's up to this freshman in college and this world-weary detective to stop the slug invasion before everyone turns into a full-blown zombie fiesta.
When the movie started, I was like momentarily disappointed that it didn't feel, I wasn't getting like the 80s vibe from this movie that I wanted. But then as I thought about it, I realized this movie has something that you and I haven't talked about, which I think of as like an essential 80s movie trope, which is college frats. Have you ever thought about like how many movies in the 80s? And I feel like this all stems back to like Animal House and Porky's.
Right.
And then Revenge of the Nerds. The character who is like a wealthy, blue-nosed, obnoxious frat boy is like one of the most common 80s tropes. I was reflecting on the fact that when I got to college, I had this like hatred of frats, despite the fact that I knew nothing about them. And it's got to be from the 47 movies that came out in that decade in which frats were always portrayed as idiotic or stupid or a waste of time or illegal or involved in like inappropriate hijinks. They're never the heroes of the movie. They're always the antagonists. And so this movie definitely checks those anti-frat boxes.
Yeah, good point. I feel like we've dabbled a little bit in like 80s. I was trying to think Black Christmas was set at a college, but not like from the frat perspective.
Right.
But you're right. So this is like the first one. It's like a little Porky's mashup too.
Right.
And actually, I think the lead actress, oh shoot, what was her name? Jill Whitlow had a part in Porky's, if I dug that up correctly from IDMB or
IMDb.
IMDb. Thank you. Thank you for keeping me straight.
Not all the cast had much of a career after this movie.
Yeah. So I was really surprised. I'd never heard of this movie.
No, me neither.
I thought this was going to be a different film than it wound up being, because not having heard anything about it, I just assumed it was going to be sort of on the level of Uninvited or some of these other poorly done movies that we've watched. But this is actually a really well done film. Like I feel like it was paced well, written well, had a very interesting plot and storyline, covered a lot of stuff.
Okay.
And
I just want to say I don't agree with any of that. Go ahead.
good,
Keep
good. This
going.
will come to a good resolution here at the end.
Yeah.
But it's just weird that I never heard of it.
Well, it didn't have much of a theatrical release. I feel like the studio that released it didn't
Kind
believe
of
in the
killed it.
movie, I
Yeah.
read. So they just gave it like theatrical release in like minor markets. I always wonder who lives in those minor markets and do they know that they're a minor market? Gotta suck to think.
I,
Both of us might be living in minor markets right now.
I think we grew up in a minor market. When they're saying minor market, it was Reisterstown. Maybe not Waitsfield.
You don't even rise to minor market.
Yeah, we're like micro influencer market.
So anyway, then the movie just went straight to video, but then it was like a huge hit on VHS.
Yeah,
I feel like on VHS it finally found its audience.
I'm here for it, but maybe you aren't. Dun dun dun.
Yeah, so we'll talk about that. So that
Yeah.
was a good overview. This is yet another movie where the title of the movie isn't very helpful. Are the creeps supposed to be the zombies, or are the creeps supposed to be those slug creatures that turn you into a zombie?
As much good art does, it leaves room for interpretation, Johnny. So you could be on the slug side of the question and answer, or you could be on the zombie side. So, or both,
They're all creeps.
They're all
I
creepy.
feel like the guys at the frat are the creeps.
Yeah, that's true.
Is there any like film lore that you found out? Where are you kind of getting into it with
Well, so
how it
I did,
exploded on VHS?
yeah, it did. As we were watching it, I think the main female character, her last name was Cronenberg, and I was like, that's a
Yeah.
really weird name for this character. And
Yes.
then as you start to pay attention, they all have horror influenced names. Like there's Romero, Carpenter, references to Remy and Cameron and
Right.
Craven. Like so, the director was definitely a horror geek and wove some of that stuff into the film. Fred Decker. So I thought
Yeah, that was
pretty
actually
cool.
kind of cute that he kind of worked in all of these. I'm sure I didn't get all of the references, but yeah, you're right. He named the characters like in honor of his heroes, and they were heroes at the time. It's not even like he's paying homage to like a previous
They were
century or something.
contemporaries. Yeah,
Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
yeah.
Did you watch the movie with anybody?
No, it was just myself. The kids popped in and out, but how about you?
So I started watching it with Kim, and I fell asleep twice.
God.
Kim was awake, and she's like, "You're watching. I have to watch this movie for your podcast, and you can't even stay awake." I'm like, "No, what? I just closed my eyes for a second. I'm totally there." And then I watched it for a few minutes and realized I have no idea what's going on. What has happened? There's a bus accident. I am lost. So I had to get up bright and early and then watch it in the morning
Okay. All
when
right.
I could really kind of focus.
Well, yeah, I was about to say, I don't know if that counts if you have Kim watch it and then she gives you the notes, the cliff notes to come
No.
to this podcast.
Oh, I respected the audience way too much to just like read the Wikipedia entry. No, I
Good.
did. I put in the work.
Okay, good. Most
But
important.
that's one of my main criticisms of the movie is I feel like the first half or even the first two-thirds are pretty slow. But it does pick up I like that it's 90 minutes. It doesn't overstay its welcome. I feel like the first hour is kind of slow and I felt like could have been edited down and moved a lot quicker. But the last half an hour, it's actually pretty entertaining.
Yeah, definitely pretty tight as you get to the final third of this film. What struck me is like it was such a mashup of styles and like B movie. I mean, you had the goofy space alien characters at the beginning.
Yes.
Like right out of the gate, I was like, "What the hell is going on?"
The movie opens with these like naked, they look like little mud people that came to life and they're
They
running
look like
around.
Peter Jackson's Bad Taste guys, like
Yeah.
like little kind of fat suit alien guys,
Mhm.
and one's trying to like get away from the others, but it's like not such a funny style.
Yeah, also you never find out what that's all about. Like the movie then picks up with it's Earth in the 1950s, I think.
Yeah,
And that little pod has landed and it's got these little like slug creatures that jump into your mouth. Get to see that 8 or 9 times in this movie. And then they turn into zombies.
yeah, because the slug creature, as you've come to find out, then takes over your mind. It's like a parasite, and then
Mhm.
keeps you alive, and then Eventually, your head splits open and creates more slug creatures that then it spreads. So it's a problem. You really got to manage these slug infestations.
Here's my first criticism of this movie. If you had just skipped the first 10 entire minutes of the movie, would it have made any difference at all? Why is that any of that relevant? Why not just start with it lands, it infects somebody, the zombies are coming? Like,
It's the backstory for the policeman. Like he dated the girl that got murdered in the 50s.
okay.
And so he, in the 50s, the cop killed the homicidal maniac with his shotgun,
Hmm.
buried the body under the sorority house. And so he's been carrying this weight all these years that he let that girl die.
Okay.
And he
Now,
killed the guy. Yeah.
here's question number 17 I have. So, yes, a police officer comes upon an axe-wielding maniac stabbing his girlfriend. He shoots the maniac. Why is he burying it under a house? Why doesn't he just radio for backup and then he can just stick it in the morgue? Like, he's killing someone committing a murder. Why is he acting like this is a terrible secret thing he did? I'm already confused. And we're just minutes into
You're
it.
asking excellent questions that a B movie from the 1980s, they're unanswerable. It's sort of like, what is the nature of consciousness is what you're asking.
And you're saying that's too much to put on this movie.
Yeah, yeah. You're really holding it to a high standard here, Johnny.
Right. I mean, I was holding it to the standard of let's get to the zombies. So, do we want to get to favorite scenes? Do you have any more like notes or lore to discuss?
No, I think we're good to go to scenes.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's start jumping into these.
Okay.
So, one thing I want to comment on, because we've already started talking about it, is a thing this movie gets a positive mark for me is the cop has great one-liners that he just
Yes.
Now, a couple of them don't work as well as others, but I thought the what's that opening line that he said that we said at the beginning? Thrill me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was going to be his main line, but he is just like rolling these things off. At one point before he shoots a zombie, this one I don't think worked. He says it's Miller time. I don't know why that would be Miller time, like right after you shoot a zombie. Is it really Miller time? Did Miller pay money? I doubt it. So that one I felt like didn't work, but he does have a line that is so good. They actually put it in the poster.
Oh, right. Yeah. What's that? Lay it on me.
By the last third of the movie, there's a bus full of frat boys, and the bus flips over, and then all the frat boys get infected. I like the fact that when you become a zombie, you just go on to whatever you were going to do anyway.
Right.
Like they were all headed to the girl's house. So after they become zombies, they just get out of the wreckage of the bus and just keep walking in their tuxedo suits because they're going to some kind of dance. And Detective Cameron is standing at the window and he goes, "I've got good news and bad news, girls."
Bad news, girls. The good news is your dates are here.
What's the bad news?
They're dead.
That line is so good. It's on the poster.
Yeah.
So that's one of his good one line. That's a lot better than it's Miller time. And I want to say one other thing, and then I want to hear some of your favorite scenes. If you shoot fire at them, that is what kills the slugs that are inside one's brain. And so I give the movie props for this, that it's a two-part kill to kill the zombie. First, you have to shoot him in the head. And then when the slugs pop out, then you have to use a flamethrower. So my favorite moment comes when the cop decides to get a flamethrower. Instead of going to a store to buy a flamethrower, he goes to pick it up at the police department. And when he gets to the department, did you recognize the actor that plays the guy
from Gremlins who's been in like 100 films?
Yes,
Yeah,
that
what's
is
that guy's
Dick
name?
Miller. Dick Miller. I looked him up. He definitely is one of those actors that if you say his name, most people are going to have no idea who you're talking about. But you have definitely seen him in a movie before. He played the old neighbor in Gremlins who was like obsessed with the Gremlin characters.
You gotta watch out for the foreigners because they plant gremlins in their machinery. That's the same gremlins brought down our planes in the big one.
And he just shows up in movie after movie. I think he sells the Terminator a gun.
The 45 long slide with laser sighting.
These are brand new. We just got them in. That's a good gun.
Wasn't he in Chopping Mall too, or am I mixing that up?
No,
Okay,
you're right.
yeah.
You clumsy son of a bitch! Look what you did. I ought to turn you into scrap metal for this.
May I see your identification badge, please?
Identification badge.
Do not make any sudden moves.
Sudden move. I'll give you a sudden move upside your head.
I mean, what a career this guy had. So I was kind of delighted to see him pop up for a moment, even just to get the flamethrower.
What can I do you for?
Well, the thing is, Walter, what I need is I need your basic flamethrower.
Flamethrower. Flamethrower.
Yeah.
Flamethrower. Jesus. What's the matter? The old snub nose ain't good enough for you anymore?
So those are two scenes I really appreciated. The tagline, "They're dead," and seeing Dick Miller pop up in this random ass movie.
I was amused by that too.
I could go on, but you tell me, what are some of your highlights and lowlights?
So the lawnmower flamethrower showdown,
Yes.
I thought that was pretty great. It's two protagonists, Chris and Cynthia. It's kind of the scene right after the zombie ambush. They've been fighting him in the house, and then they are in the sorority house, and then they're outside in like this shed, and I think he gets grabbed, and then she helps him out, and then she gets grabbed, and then pulled out of the shed, and he's like, oh my god.
And she's got the flamethrower, right?
She's got the flamethrower. He's got a gun, but for some reason
Yeah.
he decides not to use the gun. But you realize that it truly is the master stroke in terms of he then sees there's a lawnmower in the shed, and
Yeah.
he starts cracking that thing up,
Yeah.
and he proceeds to take he's like, get out of the way, and takes the lawnmower and takes care of that zombie.
Now, this is definitely not the lawnmower at my house where I have to prime it and then pull the chain 6 times. No, not enough. Okay, got to prime it 6 more times and pull the chain some more. No, not enough. Check to see if it has gas in it. If I were in this scene, the zombies would have killed me and everyone I know before I got the goddamn lawnmower started.
It's totally true, but if you went to Slashy's Chainsaw and Floral and got the electric lawnmower, it wouldn't have been a problem.
That's true. That should be
but-
their ad. It protects you from zombie attacks.
Totally. But right, yeah. If this was my lawnmower, she would have died. But he gets it started and proceeds to chop up the zombies.
Did this movie come out before Peter Jackson or after Peter Jackson?
It did. So the movie that I was referencing earlier in the conversation was Peter Jackson's Dead Alive, which came out, I think, in either late 80s or early 90s. This was 86. And Peter Jackson definitely like referenced his influences, but I don't know if they ever called out Decker directly. But in Dead Alive, there's a whole scene with the guy straps a lawnmower to his chest and proceeds to take care of a bunch of zombies. But they kind of spared you the gore a little bit in this movie versus Peter Jackson's film, where I think it was waist level blood and body parts. So,
It was pulled up everywhere. Yeah, this movie did a lot of. I feel like because this guy's so influenced by 50s B schlock horror movies, his favorite thing to do was you see someone hold up an axe and then they swing it down. You don't see the axe actually make contact, but you see blood splatter on the wall.
Yeah. And that actually, so it's not much of a scene, but it's a little sequence that I just thought was so great. It was the one where it was, I forget what they kept referencing it. Like, if we went to fraternities or sororities, we would know, but it was like the woman's house that watches over the sorority. It's like the little cottage outside.
Yeah.
It is where the cop buried the maniac that he killed years ago. They built this house on it, and there's the old woman in there who's watching the B movie.
So that old lady, is she we saw I think Black Christmas had it. There's like a lady that lives with the sorority sisters,
keeps an eye
just
on them.
keep an eye on and make sure they're like getting back for curfew.
Right.
This is a thing I'd never heard of, but I've only seen it in a movie. I'm sure it existed in real life, but yeah, you're right. I had never noticed it before. We've now seen this in 2 movies.
Yeah. So she's in there falling asleep. She's got a little like fluffy dog, and she's watching this old 50s sci-fi horror movie on TV. And essentially the guy that the cop killed comes back. You hear this banging noise. He comes out of the basement. She's like, what's going on? And he's a zombie at this point with an axe. And the way they shot that was so well done. It's like this, you hear the dog barking. It's like, woof, woof. And the axe comes up and it's, and then the blood shoots onto the screen on the TV. The phone rings, and then it's the cop. He's like, throw me. It was this little punchy sequence that was very entertaining.
Yes.
I was like, well done, Fred Decker. Good job.
Yeah, that sequence was really good. That's something else I was going to talk about is this movie did not get the memo that you don't kill dogs.
Yeah, or cats. Like he was this murderous bastard here.
Yes. So it's really surprising. And this dog does quite a bit of damage. I like the fact that he becomes a zombie dog. So I'm assuming the slug goes into the dog, and then he is responsible for the bus flipping over that kills like everyone in the fraternity just because this tiny little dog is sitting in the street. That bus driver, I gotta say, sorry to our canine lovers out here, but it's a bit of an overreaction if you see if you see an 8-inch dog in the road. I don't know that you should flip your bus over and kill 20 people. I feel like you have to make a choice at that point.
Yeah.
But is it a zombie dog at that point, or is it just a regular
Yeah.
dog?
No, it's a zombie dog at that point because it got infected by the zombie that came out, killed the old lady, and I'm
Right,
assuming then slugs got into the dog or whatever. So
right,
yeah.
right.
So I was thinking about this, and maybe you've got a different opinion as to why this film wasn't so popular, but I was wondering if like part of it was there was so much slug focus in the film, and people just don't like slugs. They're gross.
Yes.
But you might actually think this is not a good film, so maybe that's part of why.
Yes.
So that's my question to you. Why do you think, Shawnee, this film did not gain the traction in popular culture?
I don't think it's the slugs. I agree with you that slugs are pretty gross, but people don't like spiders either, and there are popular horror movies with spiders, even giant spiders. And what was the Kevin Bacon movie? Those were giant worms.
Tremors, yeah.
Tremors, right? So this, I don't think the slugs themselves are the problem. I think it's 1 hour of boring nonsense that isn't funny or interesting. Could be, I'm just gonna spitball here, the thing that made this movie kind of a loser.
Got it.
So the enormous amount of setup. The main characters are these two kids, Chris and JC, and they're just like they're into this one girl, but she, of course, is dating the head of the fraternity. It's another movie where this like sweet girl is dating like the jerkiest guy in the world.
Dating Brad.
Yes. Does he call himself the Bradster at some point?
I think so. Yeah. Come on.
Yes.
That scene was good when like he'd been turned into a zombie and came up to the house and knocked on the door, and then like the sorority sister doesn't even like blink an eye when he's there standing like he's all zombified.
Yes.
And she comes down and thinking he's just upset about because she didn't invite him to the dance or whatever. But she
Yes.
never quite looks him in the eye, so she's holding hands with the zombie and they're hanging on the porch.
They're sitting side by side, and she's like, "I just feel like we're not the same." He's a zombie at that point. Just drool's coming down his chin.
I'm sorry things didn't work out. We're just two different people. That doesn't mean that it's over forever. We just need time to think.
Yes, that was good. That was in the last half an hour of the movie. Every good moment of this movie is in the last 30 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, it had just had like the 80s banter between the friends, and it was, kind of, I mean, it was so light and silly, like the space aliens down to the shenanigans with with the friends and the frat brothers wanting them to, I mean, the lab that they go into, like what's never explained is like, why did they keep this body from the 50s in a cryogenic state to begin with? That was a major plot hole. Like who decided that was a good idea? And clearly it wasn't under any level of security if like two random dudes can walk in and bring the zombie back to life. So but I mean, I just thought kind of the lightness and kind of homage and play to all those genre films was kind of fun. I thought it was kind of fun to watch.
Once the zombies appear, it definitely picks up dramatically.
So, note to directors out there: get to the zombies faster.
Yes.
This is what keeps your audience engaged, really, Shawnee. So
that's why we came.
Before we move on from the lack of zombies, like I was reflecting on Night of the Comet, also, which was another night of film.
Yeah.
That was one of our critiques or criticisms of that movie was like more zombies were needed.
Right.
Like it was pretty light on zombies. Like, so this one I felt like paid off on the zombies, but you had to wait, a good half of the film before you got there.
Here's something I want to ask you. There's a sequence where JC, he's the buddy in the movie. He's sitting in the bathroom, literally sitting on the toilet. And then a guy walks into the bathroom and then falls over dead, and all the little slug creatures slither out. Did you look at what's written on the bathroom wall next to him? We need to talk
so
about
much
this.
Good stuff on the wall there.
Yeah, did you pause it
The
to read
movie
any
had
of that stuff?
so many details. So I all I could tell on a quick read was like Humpty Dumpty was sat on a wall. There was what else did you get? I feel like there was like some band references and some other stuff. Yeah,
that's what I want to talk. This is the reason I was looking forward to this conversation. Ryan, written up in red ink On the bathroom wall behind JC, it says Striper Rules. Ryan, do you remember the band Striper from the 80s?
So yes, and I couldn't remember if they were like the Christian rock band
Yes.
Striper. Like, yeah, so that's pretty niche right there.
Turns out somebody that worked on the film was dating a band member in Striper. And so she just wrote Striper Rules on the wall. So that was a Christian hard rock band. Were you a Striper fan, or because I remember you were a fan of like the Christian rock? You want to hit us with some of your favorite tunes?
Man, I feel like the one that was on my radar was they were a band called Petra, like,
Hmm.
but and I might have listened to a little Striper, but then I realized at a certain point that like those bands were actually kind of bad, and I should just listen to the music that came from Satan, like not a yeah, that's always better than
Wasn't there a band called Rez?
oh, wow, Shawnee, yes, good job, wow, Rez,
Yeah, we talked about this all through high school.
yeah, I have not thought of either of those bands in 30 years maybe. So yes, Res refers to Resurrection Band, a pioneering Christian rock band that formed in Chicago in 1972. Wow, I didn't realize they were around that long.
So this is useful because I feel like when you think back to the 80s and Christian rock, I feel like people are going to think, "Oh, Ryan was a big fan of Amy Grant," but you were much more obscure and niche because you didn't listen to Christian pop. You only listened to like Christian thrasher metal, which is like, how big could the audience be
It was pretty
for that
small.
music?
It's pretty small. Yeah. I think that was probably like the biggest thing to come out of that like subgenre until you got the Creed, Can you take me higher?
Yes. So yeah, look, Striper has a pretty good Wikipedia page.
So when you Google Striper, the only image that I know from them is that one photo that comes up where they're dressed like yellow jackets, like in
Yes.
yellow and black, colors of
Right.
caution.
Yes.
Look at
So
that hair. Wow.
anyway, all of this was my aside because I saw Striper Rules on the bathroom wall.
Friggin' rabbit hole. Wow.
Yeah,
Trip down memory lane. Wow.
absolutely. We're keeping all this. This is gold right here.
It's good stuff.
All right, so back to Night of the
Creeps.
Creeps.
Yeah.
So the thing that most surprised me of the movie is the two main characters are Chris and JC. And in that scene I just described where JC was sitting on the toilet, he actually then gets infected and then die. He becomes a zombie.
Yeah. And
That's kind of a shock.
it was kind of a shock. And then he left that tape recorder. He's like, listen to this. And it's like him basically turning into a zombie, talking about what's happening to him. That it was like kind of actually generally sad. And they find it. He's like, I'm in the boiler room. And he goes down there and he finds his buddy like face down with a bunch of melted slugs. And you're
Yeah.
like, that's like actually sad. That's not funny.
Yeah, he actually like killed himself. I thought because his name was James Carpenter, and so but people called him JC, and I thought, is he gonna like sacrifice himself for other people? I guess he kind of does that,
Kind of
but
does. Yeah.
but he doesn't save everybody. He just basically saves, I guess, maybe his friend. And he leaves this recording, and that recording is important because it explains how to kill these creatures, which is fire.
Right. Which is so key to so many 80s films.
Are there other movies in which fire? Have we seen a
Oh,
lot of?
Pumpkinhead, come on! Like you were.
That's right.
What was that expression or phrase you brought up?
Oh,
To show
you're talking
that-
about Chekhov's flamethrower.
Yes.
Yes, the expression is Chekhov's gun, and if you show a gun in the first act, somebody better get shot by Act 3. Yes,
Right.
and the thing about Pumpkinhead I was complaining about was not enough flamethrower action. They introduce a flamethrower and give nothing. This movie, good flamethrower scenes.
Yeah, they really delivered. Like, and that's some qualities 80s film right there. Like when you
Right.
some serious flamethrower action. Which in the scene we talked about earlier, where they met Dick Miller, who was like basically the guy that you had to check out the weapons from.
Hmm.
What good police station doesn't have a flamethrower in stock that you can check out and use for your police work? so
Yes.
so I will say, like, yeah, that was it seemed like kind of standard fare for a lot of these films. But what I
Right.
will say was a fresh take that I thought stood out to me in this film was the main character, Chris, and his buddy JC. JC had a physical disability. He had to walk around on crutches, and
Hmm.
they didn't really. I mean, there was one scene where the bully Brad tripped the guy, but like they didn't really make the movie about that. Like I feel like
Right.
Silver Bullet like any other 80s thing. It
Yes.
was like, oh, this is about this kid that has this disability. It so I thought that was a pretty like it was just
Yeah.
he just happened that was his deal and they didn't make it this major plot point. The other thing that I thought was a fresh take was as the movie gets to the final climax, Cynthia and Chris together that take on the zombies, and they're this dynamic duo of like he's not just saving her, she's like working the flamethrower and he's working the gun so to take out the
Right.
zombies. So I thought that was a nice little a little
Yeah.
progressive. Yeah.
I did like that. I like that she wasn't just a damsel in distress.
Let's bring it in for stabby scores. I'm just gonna step up to the plate.
Go.
I hear you. There are some plot holes in this film that I happily overlooked. This film was just a fun romp of genres and tributes, and as we talked about, some pretty niche things that like. There's a lot of details in this film. You can tell that like this guy was definitely a nerd and a fan of horror comedies. Practical effects were fun. Like they weren't amazing, but I really enjoyed the zombie characters. I thought it had style. It was really well done. I agree. It took like a long time to get going, but I didn't mind it. I kind of was like having fun in the world that he created. And
I feel like you're trying to defend the number you're about to say.
I'm giving it 4 stabbies.
What the hell?
Stabbies.
Get out of here with your 4 stabbies. All right. So here's the thing. What I found so hard about this movie is that the first 45 to 60 minutes are so unnecessarily boring. To me, it's not that there's plot holes. I don't mind plot holes in movies. What I mind is wasting my time. So it's like the whole background of the 1950s. You don't need any of that in this movie. Like you could cut out the whole thing. The only piece of information you need is that the cop has shot the murderer who killed his girlfriend, but he just tells you that later in the movie. So it's already covered. We get it. I actually think it would have been better had they not shown it, because then you don't know why he's so like grizzled and angry until like an hour in when he reveals his true reason. But then it makes no sense that he's burying the body of the killer. And there's so much like chit chat of like, I felt like the movie was like merging a pretty decent zombie movie and a pretty terrible fraternity comedy. There are so many other fraternity comedy movies that are better from this time period. So watching the first hour of the movie, I was like, this is a 2 stabby movie. But then that last half an hour, I actually agree with you. That is a 4 stabby 30 minutes. So I'm not sure there's any part of the movie you have to watch before the last 30 minutes.
Say fast
to
forward,
enjoy
pick
it.
it up. Yeah, okay.
So because this movie is a 2 for at least half of it, if not more, and then it's a 4 for the last 30 minutes, it's getting the 3 stabby for me. And as you know, I don't like to give movies 3 stabbies,
Middle of the road.
but I am committed to the law of averages. And so this movie lands a 3 for me because it's got such a slow, lame beginning.
I think you have to be a fan of generations of kind of horror sci-fi, because like that's where that whole first half of the movie's playing, and Critters like honestly had a similar, like it takes a lot of time setting that movie up in this like small world. It's really similar, like starts in space, comes into a small town,
right,
minus the sorority fraternity thing, but like it spends a lot of time like with the characters and like developing that before the action gets going. So similar structure. Yeah. So Critters,
yes, it is really similar. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it does have the same setup. I found the Critters, maybe the acting was better, the writing was better, but I feel like in the first half an hour, because you're setting up the town that's going to be destroyed, Gremlins, I feel like is a masterclass in how do you set up the town that you're about to see destroyed and actually care
and enjoy watching the town get destroyed.
Yes. Yeah. And you're actually like invested in its destruction.
Well, it could be a mark that like, now we're over a year and we watched, I don't know, 40 something films. Like I've gotten soft and I've started to enjoy it. Just whatever gets served up to me. I'm like the senile old man that like it comes on he's like, oh, pretty colors. Zombies. Stabbies.
That's why you got to have 2 critics. You need a Siskel, you need an Ebert.
Yeah, Jules and Hobart.
All right. That wraps up another trip down memory lane. Hopefully you enjoyed revisiting 1986's Night of the Creeps as much as we did.
If you want to support our show, tell your friends or your enemies about Slashback Cinema. And please check out our merch store at slashbackcinema.com. Every little bit helps, and we promise not to spend it all on flamethrowers.
And we want to hear from you. If you've got a favorite memory from the 70s or 80s or a classic movie you want us to dissect, drop us a line at slashbackcinema.com because your suggestions keep the conversation alive.
See you next week, folks.
Thrill me.
Thrill me. Thrill me.